Yes, y'all. Welcome in to episode 72 of the Dumb Marks Podcast, your favorite Saturday brunch bunch, back in effect. The best four-man booth in the business, at it again. However, we have a surprise guest for today. Even though the Royal Rumble was last Saturday, we got our own surprise entrant coming in here for today's show to talk all things that was the world of pro wrestling this week. How you doing, Kenny?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, surprise guest here. I am not a rapper or a singer, and I did not produce this, so I think everybody's not gonna hate me. You know.
No, you're good. You're good to go. Yeah, so we were gracious enough to come on your show a couple weeks ago. We talked everything that was Cobra Kai season 4, which was tremendous fun. Hope to do that again sometime. I'd like to deep dive into Peacemaker here once everybody watches that.
Oh yeah.
And get caught up and break that down from a DC series standpoint. But yeah, huge thanks for coming on today. We're greatly appreciative of you returning the favor, and we will gladly do the job for you on our show today.
Well, thank you for having me on. I was honored to get the invitation to come on.
So before we get into everything that was the world of pro wrestling, and guys, we're going to skip the intro this week. We're going to switch things up a little bit. We'll cover stuff on the back end of the show. So stay tuned for final thoughts there. We'll get into gaming and all some other things entertainment-wise before we wrap up the show for today. But why don't you let everybody know where they can find you at, what you're most famous for, obviously, the call-up. Huge success and doing big things over there with that. Tuned in the other night, left a little comment for you during the AEW Dynamite watch along, but you didn't read it out, so I guess we're not that cool, but it's okay.
Was it through? Did you do it through Facebook? Because for some reason, anytime I get a message on Facebook, I have no idea why it doesn't go through. So that's why I always tell people, like, hey, if you're watching it, go on YouTube and leave a comment. It'll pop up.
I was on Twitter live tweeting the Dynamite.
Oh, that I wouldn't even see it on Twitter either. So I think Twitter just shows the broadcast.
I could see everybody and you pulling up comments and everything else, and I'm like, I'll just throw a little shout out here, see if he's ready for the pod, and then kicked it over, and I'm waiting. I'm like. All right.
now I feel so bad because
Saturday.
I feel so bad because you know what is the thing about it is, like I had like maybe a couple of comments on Facebook because I went back and checked it and I'm like, wait a minute, there's comments on the Facebook feed, and I was just like, I didn't get any of these messages, so I literally like sent messages to everybody. I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm still trying to get the kinks out because I normally had it on StreamYard, so now I moved to Restream because I kept having too many issues with my StreamYard connection, so I left that, went to Restream. But now I see with Restream, nobody from Facebook sees anything at all on Twitter. It sucks.
No, we're cool. All good in the hood. No doubt about it. Real quick, shout out to everybody. Pretty much half of the United States digging themselves out of the past ice and snowstorm that we got. Shit's for the birds. I'm ready to move to whether it's warm weather year round. I'm over it. I'm done with it. So
true story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But why don't you let everybody know where you're at, where they can find you at on social media, and then we'll get into the main topic here of Bell to Bell this week.
All right. So if you guys want to check me out, I am on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, oh my God, TikTok. You can find my show on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud. So what my show is about is, in the beginning, about a year and a half ago, I sat here and just started interviewing different people that I like in professional wrestling. Started off with Thunder Rosa. She was my very first guest. And then it just kind of and then it kind of just snowballed from there. So I've done interviews with like Moose and Rich Swann, Kyle O'Reilly, Mickey James, Keith Slater, just to like name a few people. And then I kind of just love just doing reviews with other people, like other podcasters and other streamers. So like every Monday now, me and my co-host Toe, we do the Monday Night Raw watch-alongs. So we start at 7:30. We do the kickoff show. We do whatever news comes up or rants. If you've seen it last week, he did like a whole big rant about Matt Riddle. And then on Wednesdays, I do the Dynamite watch alongs as well. And then sometimes on Saturdays, depending on how my schedule is, I kind of do like a wrap up thing where I kind of just go live on every social that I could possibly think of that anybody is on. And we just shoot the shit about whatever it is that we could talk about. I don't know if I can curse on here because I don't want to.
It's all good.
Yeah. Okay.
We've said worse.
No, we are not. We are not a.
Yeah.
Well, we're family friendly, but go ahead, let it fly. It don't matter.
But that's pretty much like the gist of the show. It went from like just straight wrestling, but now it's kind of like evolved to like other things. So like I kind of just do like different topics now. Like when we did the Cobra Kai, I want to do more, entertainment stuff. I just recently had on a really funny comedian by the name of Chanel Ali. She's based out of Philadelphia. She's been like all over doing stand-up comedy for the last about 9 years. So it was good to talk to her. And then I have a couple of other like interesting topics that are coming up in the next couple of weeks, talking about mental health.
That's we cover that. I'm a huge advocate for mental health. I've been through it myself. Still going through it myself. Right. So we did a lot during Mental Health Month back in June, talking about it. But that's always a forefront, at least in my mind, whenever we go through stuff on the show. So awesome to hear that.
Are you bringing anybody on?
I'm having a couple of friends that work in the mental health field that are coming in, and then having some guests on that I've spoken to about just like different things that they're going through that they said that they wanted to share. Because I always felt like, for a guy's perspective, it's so hard, especially like a person of color, to like open up about like their feelings or what they're going through. Like we see so many times that women, will go and say like, I feel this way. But like we never hear a guy say like I don't feel okay today. Like something's off of me. They kind of just like shove it in, hold it,
that shit up.
And they bottle it up, and then all of a sudden they blow up. Or we as a male, like some of us grew up in the sense of like a guy's not supposed to cry type of thing. You know what I mean? But we'll talk about that another time. We'll probably be here all day about this.
Sometimes, as Eric Bischoff likes to say, on every 3 weeks, we go off into the weeds. But this is something where we go into the weeds. I'm perfectly fine with. But just real quick, and you don't got to spend too much time. But when you started and you initially started with interviewing wrestlers and everything else, and Thunder Rosa is your first get, as a podcaster starting out, because we've talked about doing different things and how can we grow and what can we do and everything else. Did you just shoot your shot, so to speak, and reach out and say, hey, would you mind coming on, this and that? And they were receptive to that? Because like I know we've talked about it, but none of us have pulled the trigger yet to say, all right, well, why would they want to come and talk to us? Like, but you just went out and said, fuck it.
Yeah. So I had
it worked out. Like
I never interviewed anybody at all. I just came up with a concept that I was like, hey, I want to talk to these people. I go to meet and greets all the time. And I sat down with a friend of mine's who does like video photography and all this other stuff for media. And I said, what do you think of this topic? And he was just like, all right, who would you want to get? And I was just like, man, you know what? I was like, Thunder Rosa was really, was red hot. Well, she still is red hot right now, but she was like the NWA Women's Champion at the time. And I said, you know what? I just started going through Twitter and I just started emailing like everybody that I can think of. So like I still do that now, where like I literally will sit there and I'll email about 20 different wrestlers. I'll email WWE a handful of times or whatever. Like once a month, I'll email WWE or AEW to see who's available. And then nobody got back to me. That's like the one thing that always bugs me a lot of the time, right? Especially like in podcasting, you'll see them do like a million interviews and you'll be like, oh, maybe they'll do something with you, and then like nothing. So I just sent out a whole bunch of emails, and the first person to respond back was Thunder Rosa. She said, tell me about your show a little bit more. And then I was like talking to her and her husband, and I laid everything out for them. She said, sure. She said, I'm really busy right now. I can give you about 15 minutes. And I said, all right, cool. And then it was funny thing is the day of, she sends me a text because she was like, what's your telephone number in case something happens and I can't get to an email. So she sends me a text and she says, hey, I'm just coming out of the gym. Can we push it for maybe like another 30, like I can get home in 30 minutes, shower, and then I'm good to go. I said, all right, just text me, let me know when you're ready. I'll come on. So it went from 15 minutes. She gave me about 45 minutes just because,
awesome.
she was late. And then, ever since then, I just started like literally just little by little changing my approach on getting people, and it worked out a little bit. I got to give a big shout out to Chris Van Vliet because he helped me out with just, I guess, like a better approach when it comes to things. Because I used to be so like, I want you for this and this, this and this. My son is in the background, and then it was just like, just try and shorten it a little bit. Just let them know what you want. Maybe give some people that you've dealt with, and then maybe like a sample of an interview that you've done that you're most proud of, that they can look back at it and say like, oh, okay, this sounds pretty good. Let me give it a shot.
Right. That's awesome. So yeah,
Virgil, coming soon.
Oh, you don't want to know about Virgil. Oh my God.
So listen, Virgil literally grew up was from the town right next to where me and Chris grew up at. Okay. First ever autograph I got was Virgil's autograph. My grandmother got it from Virgil at the bank on a Saturday morning, right? Standing in line. She's like, oh my God, my grandson loves wrestling. And he signed it, everything else. It was the first wrestling autograph I ever got. I was like, this is amazing. You know what I mean?
$20.
Back then he was in the, he was rolling with Ted back in the day. Then he didn't charge nothing. He just, signed an autograph for a nice old lady that asked him, that her grandson loves pro wrestling. So that was the first ever autograph I got. But yeah, he literally grew up or I don't even want to say he grew up in the town next to us, but he was from the town next to us. So we said, well, let me hit up Virgil just because it's a local connection and he might do it.
Yeah. Our town, he actually had a bar called Virgil's Bar. The building's not there anymore, but it was there for years, and just like.
So look, the moral of this story, kids, is, and I say this all the time when it comes to my wife, I outkicked my coverage severely. Like, there's no reason why my wife should be with me. Like, I have no idea why, but it worked. I definitely married up. Like any adjective you want to use in that scenario. But the bottom line is, hey, don't be afraid to shoot your shot. Whether it's asking for a guest to come on your show, somebody that you find interesting that you really like in any field. If you're out here doing this, hit them up because you never know what happens.
The worst thing they can do is tell you no. I've gotten no from people that I really like, and I look at the email and go, huh, okay, well, whatever, and I just move on,
All right, awesome, that's great. All right, so let's get into why we're here. We'll break down bell to bell. Chris, I don't know if you want to hit the little official intro so we can make it professional.
Let's do it.
All right, now we're officially in the bell to bell show. The week that wasn't pro wrestling, so I saw you tweet out, I forget what day it was, but it said, I rewatched the Royal Rumble.
Yes,
and I hit you
Monday.
back. I hit you back and I said, why would you do that to yourself? But I knew you were coming on the show, and I'm like, all right, we gave our takes after Rumble went off the air. We did our post show. Go over to YouTube. You can check that out on the YouTube channel. But second watch through, you don't got to spend a lot of time on it. Second watch through, grade it 1 to 10. What ranking would you give it? And was there anything that you liked better about the show or worse about the show after watching it a second time?
Okay, so the reason why I watched it again was because so many people said that they hated this thing, right? And I did a watch along with it with a friend of mine. So when we did like a reaction afterwards, I was already dead tired. It was like midnight. I'm like so out of it. And I said, you know what? I want to give it a better review. So I said, let me watch it again by myself in the house. The one thing that I could take away, like giving it a grade, I would give it a C. Right? There was a lot of things that was just off about it this year, and then hearing stuff from people that were actually there, it kind of makes sense of a lot of things that were going on. I love the Roman Reigns Seth Rollins match. I thought that was like it told a story that we didn't really get, because when the Shield broke up, the only person that really was like trying to do something to Seth Rollins was Dean Ambrose, who's John Moxley now, right? We really didn't see that much from Roman Reigns. They were trying to make Roman this really big star and shoving him down our throats all the time. So this kind of like told their story afterwards. So it was, like I said, it was like the Batman versus Joker type of thing. And I thought it was brilliant that he came out with the Shield gimmick all over again, and then we kind of just, they did the flashbacks at the end with the whole, like Roman doing the chair shots. And then just because I really didn't get to listen to like the full Rumble. So when I saw that match and I just listened to the audio, I was just like, okay, like now the ending makes sense to me. Because before when I saw it, was like a DQ. Are you serious? Like this is it? But like if you listen to Roman, he's just like, he's making me do this. Like He deserves this. And then when he was hitting him with the chair shots, he was telling him like, you took a piece of me and I'm getting it back.
Getting that pound of flesh back.
Yeah, you took my love for you and you threw it out the window, and I'm taking it back. Like you took all that time that we had as brothers of the Shield, and now you threw it away. I want that piece of me back, which we all know he's never gonna get back. But I mean, it was great. The men's Rumble match was horrible. Like the women's Rumble was way better than the men's, even though the women's Rumble was completely rushed.
Yeah, so there was, I know this is a good segue, even though you didn't plan it, but this is perfect with how we're going with one of the topics that we talked about in our pre-production text message. But the men's and women's Royal Rumble, obviously the women's Rumble for the past however many years it's been around, it's been produced heavily by TJ Wilson, who was not there Saturday night. I believe Triple H also does some work with the women's Rumble match himself. I know Fit Finley's been around there for a while. So, but TJ's pretty much the main guy when it comes to the women's Royal Rumble, and the women's Rumble matches have been very good since they've launched them, right? So he wasn't there this year, and you could see that it was off. The men's Rumble, like you said, and we all agreed after the show, was just a complete cluster. And then news started to break throughout the week. Shane McMahon getting his walking papers as pretty much the scapegoat and the guy to take the fall on the sword for the Rumble match itself. I guess him and Lesnar had a lot of ideas and plans, and Vince was poo-pooing everything and shutting everything down, which led to a lot of rewrites and pretty much the entire day being spent back and forth on the Rumble match itself. It didn't turn out well. With that being said, Shane getting his walking papers, see you bye, out the door. Is it a work? Is it a shoot?
I think it is. Like you're not gonna fire him from the company. You're just gonna give him a leave of absence. This is the same way like before, like when he left the first time, in WWE, he couldn't work with his dad for too long. He didn't like the way things are going. And this is probably around the same time that like Triple H and Stephanie was like really heavy, and they brought their relationships to, on screen, and Shane didn't like it. And Triple H was getting more of a role in WWE. And then you notice like Shane McMahon just left, right? He moves to Japan, starts up a company out there, and we don't hear from him for years. and then all of a sudden one day on the Monday Night Raw, boom, Shane McMahon is back. You know, and I feel it's the same way, especially now with AEW. Like, you're not gonna just fire somebody who has that much knowledge into something where somebody like, Tony Khan can like sit there and say like, well, you can always come and work with me and we could partner together type of thing, because like the way I feel like just Tony's just throwing money at people. And I was like, hey, it's like I'm from New York and everybody always tells us we're like, how the Yankees are, that we just throw money at people and we just sign more and more people in order for us to get a ring, and then we get a ring, and then we kind of just throw everybody back, But
Right.
that's how like Tony Khan is to me. He's like an owner of the Yankees who just throws money at people and says like, hey, I'll sign you for 3 months, give us some good ratings, and then we toss you back out someplace and hope for the best.
So Rubik's Cube World Champ 2025. Shout out Peacemaker, a tremendous name there for you. The silent assassin down in the screen below me, Jay. Work shoot on Shane, and do you agree with Austin Theory being the one to replace him in the Elimination Chamber? Because it was supposed to be Shane in that spot, which was going to then lead to Shane and Seth having a program for Mania.
Do you really sign yourself to a contract?
Yeah, I mean he was under a talent contract.
Yeah, he wasn't officially part of the company.
Yeah, he was a talent contract. So
I gave you life.
Company, you have to have a contract.
I gave you life, boy. You on that mat tonight.
I believe this will work, but Austin Theory, perfect replacement. Everybody complains about pushing new guys. Here you go. Mm-hmm. But I see a lot of people benching and moaning that they don't want that guy.
You can never make everybody happy, especially in wrestling.
It's the wrestling world now.
Chris, work shoot.
I'm in the middle right now. I'm not 100% sure. And the only reason why I'm not 100% sure, and if this ends up being a work, it's going to be great because, I think one of the things that this week I kind of give Rumble a little bit more pass than what I did last Saturday is, last weekend Vince's mom passed away and Shane's grandmother. If this actually happened and tensions were running high, of course that's going to happen. It's a family tragedy. They're
mm-hmm.
tempered. They're both so hot tempered that I'm sure they were just butting heads all day. If this really was true, so the Rumble was what it was. I'll give them a pass just for that reason for last weekend. If this is a work and the whole situation, with Austin Theory taking Shane's spot in the Elimination Chamber, we've been saying that there's something big coming for Austin Theory at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah,
with all his work with Vince the past few months. A Shane Austin Theory match interests me a whole lot more than a Shane Seth Rollins match. Not saying Shane versus Seth Rollins wouldn't be good, because both of them can go and it would be a great match. But I think the storylines there more for Shane Austin Theory. Like you have this story now and you can come right into it after Elimination Chamber and be like, hey, you sent me home after the Rumble, and this is the guy that, you're putting all your love behind right now. And like, they can just go from there. Mm-hmm. If that's what happens, I'm all for it. If the whole thing was supposed to be Shane and Seth and, we didn't get it because Vince didn't want to go that way, I can understand why Shane was pushing so hard for it in the Rumble, because at least he was trying to tell a story in the Rumble, and that was one of our biggest complaints when we did our after show. So, yeah.
Hey, it was at least 11, 12 storyline eliminations. So, you guys want storyline. Went back and counted.
11 or 12 eliminations that were based around storylines in the Rumble?
Yep.
Well, for the men?
Yeah.
What? Who? Give me 3.
Did the research?
Give me 3. Please give me 3.
Sammy and
Johnny Knoxville.
Sammy Knoxville. Everybody almost threw out.
Oh my god.
AJ threw out.
AJ grabbing his straws.
Did AJ throw out Theory?
Huh?
I think AJ threw out Theory, right?
I don't know.
I don't remember that one.
That was AJ threw out somebody in the storyline. Yeah. It was
I know
just
AJ. I know
because
AJ
that's
threw out.
electric,
I know.
But is
I
it?
know AJ threw out almost. He helped because he
He threw
did
out
the
almost,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody threw out almost. So I mean,
Yeah.
that would mean the entire Raw roster is in a story with almost. By
Yeah.
I
your
think
logic.
for me, I think
counted that as
the
one.
women's rumble actually told more stories than anything else.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially I think they dropped the ball on one story they could have, done way better, and that was the Sonya Deville and Naomi. Because you had Cameron come out after Sonya, you could have left her in there a little bit more,
Yeah.
and then out comes Naomi. Naomi and Cameron have a fucking dactyl reunion, beat up Sonya Deville. Who's the next person that should come out? Mandy Rose.
You know they had a dance off if they did that.
Mandy Rose comes out, helps
and
out Sonya. They
but
both
this
get
goes
eliminated. Like,
Donald, I'll get your take real quick, but this goes back to the point where the people and Triple H was responsible for a lot of this on the men's part. When entrants would come in, you would see them get their shine. Each person that came in would get their shine, and we didn't get that this year. And that goes back to the people that were producing the Rumble, where they got away from the formula that worked and gave everybody a spotlight for that 30 seconds. And then you break off and you wait for the next guy to come in or next girl to come in. So
Your spotlight's to walk down the ramp.
yeah.
Do you think that a lot of that has to do with this was the first Rumble back in front of fans without Pat?
no.
Yeah, because Pat would always be there. Like last year, I don't really count just because of that was in the Thunderdome. But
Right.
But we didn't have these complaints about last year's Rumble matches,
No.
and look who the people were that were producing them.
yeah,
Without Pat there. Yeah, Pat is great for the Rumble. I mean, the man created it. He's a genius. His fingerprints have been all over it since it started. And it's produced a lot of moments. But he wasn't, heavily involved in, before he passed away. He may have added some stuff here and there, but it wasn't like he was back in the day with it. So I think it just circles back around to who was actually producing both Rumbles. And then, like a lot of things, and Chris, this is your tagline, who does it all fall on? Who's the one that gives the final yes or no?
But hearing this past week of how much he kept rewriting the men's doesn't surprise me. And it's like, and yeah, it's. I wasn't there. All I'm hearing is the rumors of what happened the past week. But if the rumors are true that him and Shane were butting heads so much, because Vince won rewrites, it doesn't surprise me because, even if there was multiple people running the show, Vince is the one changing it. And like you said, it all falls on him, and they're not going to fire him, so he had to get the scapegoat.
Donald, with regards to Shane, work shoot, and was Theory the right guy to replace him?
It's definitely a work. They needed something to change off the topic of the Rumble because everybody was bitching about it so much. And then plus, I think it's creative finally getting off their ass if it is a work for him to come back to be like WWE, be like, I got you, to pull you back in for ratings jumping and all that stuff. And putting Theory in the match, of course, I'm going to believe in a younger talent over a Legends talent. I know we're going to hit that subject real soon. So, yes, definitely push the younger people over the older people. I have no issue with it whatsoever.
So you're calling Shane a legend?
No.
I mean, if Summer Rae's a legend, I guess we can throw that. The legend talk is going to happen, but not on this show.
Okay. Summer Rae being a legend, I was like, what? And then they said it twice.
Yes, they did.
So I was like, okay, it wasn't a mistake the first time you said it around. But Donald, why isn't Shane McMahon a legend in your eyes?
To me, he just seemed like a gimmick in the ring. More like I wouldn't say like, I'm borderline to say like stuntman in the ring. It meant to me he didn't seem like a full-time person. It's like David Ortiz. He's a DH and made the Hall of Fame, which he should have. Like that. I don't give him that full-time schedule as a wrestler to be called a legend.
I mean, Shane has had a lot of moments and WWE is all about creating moments. So if you're somebody that has a lot of moments and you look down his resume, a lot of those things are very memorable to a lot of people, and are callbacks for a lot of people. So does that necessarily make you a legend if you have those type of moments? Um, Possibly, the argument can be made there from like an in-ring talent standpoint. Shane's not like a legend of pro wrestling. I wouldn't go that far and say that, but
I remember all Fandango's entrances. So
Fandango in your eyes is a legend.
Summer Rae.
Oh my god! But I mean, for me, I would probably say, in my eyes, I think he's a legend just because of all the stuff that he's done throughout the time in WWF and in WWE. He's had some really great, matches throughout the time that he actually did wrestle. It's not like he did one and done type of thing, or he was like, here and there. He actually had some.
Him and Angle. I mean that. What was that the King of the Ring match they had?
Yeah.
Like that's one that, like, all right, if you're trying to show pro wrestling to somebody that's never watched it before, to get the full scope of it, you could make an argument that could be a match that you could show somebody based off of what they did in that match at that time. I'm not going to put that on and say, hey, this is how you become, a 5-star general in the ring. But as far as an entertaining pro wrestling match that had story and start to finish, was filled with crazy moments and holy shit and everything else, like, that's a match that you could put on and show somebody as like, hey, this is why you should watch this stuff. It's pretty cool. Like, I would say Shane has that, and maybe a handful of other ones. Him and AJ at Mania a couple years ago was unbelievable when they opened up the show. People forgot about it because the Mania was 5 hours long, but that match there was a really good match again that he was involved in. So
him and Steve Blackman. I like that one. I know you guys laugh, but I actually enjoyed that.
That was one of his moments, him jumping off the scaffolding.
Yeah, jumping off the scaffolding, right? Yeah. There's that moment. If Jeff Hardy's and Jeff Hardy's immortalized because of moments, right? You think swantons off ladders, everything else. Like, Shane has arguably, as many of those moments under his belt as Hardy does during a WWE run. You know what I mean? So, all right. For me, real quick, just to tie up the Shane topic, Chris, I was going along with your storyline. For me, I think it's more of a work than a shoot, but I'm thinking it's more of a work because of what else has gone on recently in WWE, especially with people. So we know who the higher ups are in WWE right now, right? You got Pritchard, you got Laurinaitis, Vince, and then others sprinkled throughout. But if you've listened to Pritchard on Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard for however many years him and Conrad have done that show, he always talks about Meltzer and the dirt sheets, right? So what better way than to use the dirt sheets? And this is me going, off in left field, high praise, high thinking. This is what they're doing, but it's probably just a complete fantasy rip on my part. What better way than to use the dirt sheets to get stuff out there in order to make, one, get us out there for whatever reason we want, and two, to get people talking about us, and three, when the return happens, it's a holy shit moment. So we saw everything with McIntyre, right? Neck surgery out, everything else, all that was leaked. After that, after those initial reports came out, you heard nothing else. There was no chatter at all. I didn't see anything anywhere about second opinions, follow-ups, nothing, right? Comes back for the Rumble, everything else. He showed up on SmackDown last night. So was it a work? Was it a shoot? We don't know, but they bled it out there, right? Sasha's a little bit more iffy, but again, out 6 to 8 weeks, getting that narrative out there. Oh shit, she came back for the Rumble. Was in the Rumble, got eliminated early. I still think that was a precaution. She's not fully back yet. But okay, narrative rise, right? Shane, this stuff was the same way. We're going to release you. We're going to put it out there. You produced the worst Rumble that we've had in years. Everything else, all this. We've been building up this storyline with Vince and Austin as the son that Vince never had that can succeed him and be his son that he can be proud of. Everything that the opposite of everything that Shane is, right? Well, what better way to have that story play out than use the dirt sheets and get all this stuff out there, give Shane a fake release, and then you have Shane come back and you're off and running to Mania with them two. Like, I don't want to give them that much credit, but that would be a way to do it, and it would be a way to work. It gets everybody interested. We're talking about it now. People have been talking about it all week.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense. Especially the way WWE is.
If this is actually a work, I'm going to be very surprised in a way, too. It's just like, I'll give them the credit for that one, because I don't even know the last time they would have worked me so hard.
Hey, they have to. They have to. I'll never do that, but yeah, they have to.
All right, so we have the Rumble. We have Raw and SmackDown. We're off on the road to WrestleMania. And for me, that road to WrestleMania is already filled with a ton of potholes and didn't get off to the best start that it could have gotten off. Based on what you guys saw this week, Monday and Friday, what do you think they're doing so far? How they've set things up? I know they got to work through the chamber to get to Mania, but do you think that they have done the right thing week one into this trip? Jay?
It was all Elimination Chamber matches were great to me.
I never get the fact that they after the Rumble where we had like 29 guys fight to get a spot at WrestleMania, now we have Elimination Chamber where we have more people who are shorter now, a shorter list of people trying to fight for a shot at a title. Like I never get that.
Kind of like whenever they did bragging rights, and then the next month they did Survivor Series.
Exactly.
You got to have your other championship defend it. What better way to have a reason?
What's the reason?
Well, now it's not the reason, but before it was. Now it's being defended on the show. And maybe this is a storyline where you get to your Brock versus Reigns title for title.
Mm-hmm.
And Donald, this is where your Legends gripe comes in.
Don't even.
You have Lita walk out.
Don't even.
You have Lita walk out. Hey, challenge you to a match title shot. Like Oprah. Sure, you got it. You get a title shot. And then Goldberg's music hits last night. You get a title shot.
Automatic.
Now y'all care about a Saudi show. Ain't none of y'all watched a damn one.
No,
now you care about it.
It's not about
the last one was so good.
The last one was good, real good.
I watched it.
The last one?
Yeah, I did.
How many other ones you watched?
I watched them all, except I watched them all
except for the first three.
No, the DX and the DX and
that was horrible.
That was so bad.
I didn't watch that one. That was the only one I didn't watch. I watched the rest of them.
Yeah, I've watched all of them.
So disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
So with the Legends coming back and getting title shots just because they asked for it, do you think that's the right call?
You're a legend, sure.
But this has also been the past couple years. That's how it's been going.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer earn it. It's whoever points to the sign. Okay.
But with those Saudi shows, it's not what creative wants or what the fans want. It's whatever the prince wants.
Yes.
If the prince wants Hogan versus Roman, Vince would have found a way to get Hulk Hogan to come to Saudi, wrestle Roman Reigns, in front of the prince and be happy, collect all that money and go home. Well, try to go home because we seen what happened the last time.
That's actually a really good point because this past week they had their conference call and someone brought up, you're doing 2 Saudi Arabia shows a year now. You get like $50 million for them. What's the thing? How do you feel about these? Like, is it something that's going to continue moving forward? And Nick Khan came on. He goes, Why do we have to do just 2?
Yep.
So it looks like we're going to be getting some more of those.
Mm-hmm. As long as they're paying it out, they're going to continue rolling it.
There you go. That's it. It's all about the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they go into these shows hamstrung because they don't force the talent to go over. So your roster's cut even shorter than what it is based off of who will and who won't go, right? Kevin Owens doesn't go to Saudi Arabia, which is, you could say that's why Austin Theory went over. But to me, I think it was more for the story with Theory than it was that KO doesn't go to Saudi. But people were pointing that out right away. Oh, Austin only won because KO doesn't go to Saudi.
Right.
Well, it's like, why, like, can't you just roll with what they're telling you? Like, why do you have to throw that into the mix? Like, you know what I mean? I think my biggest issue with it is just, we talked about it on our show after post Rumble, is that your problem with not building stars and relying on the past is that the past is getting to the point where the past can't go anymore. So it's going to be hurtful to your product and to your audience because they're not going to be able to do what they've done in the past. Yes, Goldberg has one match left on his deal. We know we were getting one more Goldberg match. Yes, Goldberg is a huge star, and the Prince loves Goldberg.
The fans love him too.
No, that
you hit Goldberg's music and it pops every time.
That popped last night was
piped
in. That was
piped in because nobody had their hands up cheering on Goldberg.
That was the most piped in shit they've ever done on WWE.
Everyone online said the same thing that I said. Why? I even tweeted that out. I was like, God, no. Like, the rumors are true. Lord, please no. Like, and this guy came. I was like, shit.
At least you know he's not winning.
How do you know?
Yeah, exactly. Because remember, like you seen what happened the last time.
Yeah.
How do you know?
I mean,
he signed that last bit of one more match contract for WrestleMania.
You had somebody like Bray Wyatt as the Fiend, who was red hot, and he loses to this bullshit freaking Jack. That was horrible. And even Seth even tweeted about it. He was like, well, who knew? All you needed was a freaking jackhammer to beat the Fiend. Like, and not even a good one either. Like, I probably could have just lifted him up and just threw, okay, all right, let's just count 1, 2, 3 is over. And I'm supposed to believe that? No, come on.
Garbage. He came out there doing the same promo from 98 WCW. Yep. The same thing.
It's rinse
and you got people like this man in the corner eating it up.
You get mad when they change names and gimmicks. Let the man come on and do a shtick.
This is 2022, not 1998.
Oh man.
Every character has evolved since they started, except for Goldberg.
Except for him.
He's the one guy that's never evolved in pro wrestling from a character standpoint ever.
He wears a biker jacket now.
2022.
He's consistent.
Consistent, my ass. Consistently bad. God, they need that rule. Once you turn a Hall of Famer, you should be off the market altogether. Do something like Stone Cold does. Don't come back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, I'm not mad at Bill for taking the money. You're gonna write the check, okay?
That's capitalism. I'll do that too myself.
But it's a detriment to the product that you continuously do this, and it cuts the legs off from people that you should be building up. First off, they shouldn't even have a show in between Rumble and Mania.
We say that every year.
Yeah.
Luckily, this year we're only getting one show. Last year it was 2. And it really jacked up the flow to Mania. For now.
They can always throw something in March.
You get the American Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, just like what was that one year that they threw?
Roadblock.
No, it wasn't Fastlane. Yeah, Roadblock. Like it just came like that came out of nowhere because it wasn't on the schedule for the WWE. It wasn't on the pay-per-view schedule, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, because they needed to tie in Roman, they was like, "Yeah, we're gonna do Roadblock." And it was like, well, "What is this? What? Who came up with this?"
Yep. That's the short-sighted booking that where you run into those issues. So yeah, I don't enjoy. Out of the 2 legends that came back and called for title shots and got them, I'm more excited to watch Lita and Becky than I am Goldberg and Roman. Right?
Yeah.
Like I think we can all agree on that. I just don't see why it's necessary that you have to do it.
Ever since I seen Lita pull off her whatever her finisher is and damn near died, I don't trust it.
She don't need to be wrestling either.
No,
Yeah,
it
let her.
doesn't.
He did enough already.
But
Especially with her neck
Becky
injuries,
can
why
carry
trust
her
her?
though.
Possibly, yeah.
No.
So
I'd rather have it now at this event than at WrestleMania. So I hope she
yeah.
doesn't.
Oh,
do another
yes,
match
for
at
sure.
WrestleMania.
Yes.
So with that being said, since we brought up Becky, let me tell you why. The other reason why I think there's already potholes on the road to WrestleMania.
Terrible.
They're telling the wrong story with Ronda Rousey. They screwed it up. I said Saturday night, this is written for you. Don't screw this up. It's plain as day.
She has history with both. You can go either way.
She
go either
does,
way.
but there's not
The
as
better,
much
the better
history
story
with.
would be Becky, but she has history with both. So
But we've already seen her and Charlotte. We've gotten it. We didn't get her and Becky.
1-on-1.
Charlotte didn't pin Ronda at Mania to win 2 belts. Becky did. Ronda took her ball and went home after that. Why are you coming back and calling out Charlotte? Oh, just because she's first on your list in the family business of kicking ass? What a shit promo that was last night.
maybe
The whole entire week was shit.
Yeah.
Or they just put Ronda on Fox, so they can have.
But you know how Fox and WWE is. Like
for that, yeah. Let's get the
WWE
biggest
has
star
to
on
make them
Fox.
happy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care about her and Charlotte at all.
Oh no.
No.
I do.
We know.
Why?
I enjoy Charlotte. I don't know why everybody hates her. I love Charlotte. She's my goat.
I like Charlotte, but I don't want to see her and
But
Ronda.
why are you interested in her and Ronda? That just because you like Charlotte, that's not like okay. I like a lot of people. That like.
I think she would have a better in-ring match than her and Becky. When Charlotte's on, she makes anybody look good. She made Dana Brooke look good. When Charlotte's on, I don't think Becky can do the same.
No, I think she can.
So this goes back to the topic of match for match, which Jason doesn't care. Like, he's gonna watch it and he's gonna like it because the match is the match. If it's a good match, where majority of us, and Kenny, you can weigh in with your opinion after I say this. We want story involved in our matches. Like, I'm not gonna get invested just because they announce a match and they're gonna have a match. Like, tell me a story to get me to the point where I want to see the match. For you, as you watch and consume pro wrestling, are you just match for match? Okay, I'm happy, or do you need the story element added into the match?
I need the story. It depends on who it is, where I just be like, okay, I want to see these two just go at it and see like who's the best in the ring. But when it comes to, especially I guess with WWE, like, and the characters that they build, like, I want to see some type of story between the two, and like when they said Ronda was coming back, I immediately thought I was just like, okay, we're going to get Ronda versus Becky, and we can have that story, and they're going to have good promos because both of them could talk about their kids, get that involved, and just like them taking the time out of being away and coming back, because Ronda was out longer than Becky was, in pro wrestling. So you would think that this is the match we would get for WrestleMania. And then they're giving us Charlotte, which if you see from that promo yesterday when she was just like, "Oh, this is my baby," and it looks a whole lot better than yours. I was like, really? Like, we're really gonna go there with this? Like, come on. Like, I love Charlotte Flair as an entertainer and a performer. I just sometimes her promos are just, they're cringeworthy to me. I'm sorry, I just can't. Like, I'll mute her.
It was not a good showing from either woman last night.
Ronda had a horrible week.
The mic goes, and Ronda didn't have a good showing up on Monday night either with her back and forth with Becky. Becky almost saved that segment, but it didn't. It was crash and burn. Like,
yeah.
They need to stop writing for her. That's just it. Stop writing for Ronda. Just give her the mic. Give her maybe a couple of cute points or whatever, and that's it. Because you can tell that They're giving her They're giving her a script to say, and she's trying to remember it without fucking it up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They need someone just to work one-on-one with her. I'm not sure who the promo people are these days in WWE, but someone just needs to work with her one-on-one and just be like, okay, this is what we're doing. Here's some bullet points, and just go out there and try to hit these.
Now, Charlotte called out Sasha first.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any possibility, and this is WWE creative we're talking about, that it turns into a Charlotte Ronda Sasha instead of just Charlotte and Ronda?
Yeah, it will. It's not going to be a one-on-one.
What? See,
You also got Charlotte
not gonna
putting
be
that
a
out there that Sasha wasn't there last night too. So it's like, who knows? Like you said, Steve, who knows what her injury timeline is right now?
You're either going to put in you're either going to put in Banks to be that third person in there to come out of nowhere, or Bailey comes back and she's the third person in.
So Bailey and Asuka both are cleared and are good to go. They, from what I saw, Asuka's supposed to be back before Bailey, and they're just kind of trying to figure out what they want to do with both of them at this point in time. So look to see both of them pop up. I would say probably after Elimination Chamber, you get both of them back. And that'll give you time to figure out something for Mania if that's the case.
I don't know if this is where they're going, and it was probably just more for fun than anything, but you saw Bailey do her little tweet after the Rumble, just sipping her tea, watching the show, and then you had Trish do the same thing afterwards, and just like, okay, are they just trying to tease something, or is this just them having fun together?
Please let it be fun together. Please. If I want legends, I'll just turn on the Peacock Network and watch WWE 96 or something like that.
All right. Real quick for you, Kenny, I know you got a heart out here. So just overall thoughts from the world of WWE. And we got into this way more than what I was expecting because I had other topics. So we're going to have you back on later to get into it.
Definitely.
With other shows. But real quick, overall, the week that was positive, yay or nay, and what are your hopes for Mania itself?
Let's see. I thought Monday Night Raw was really good. I had to sit there and watch it for 3 hours, so I thought it was decent. SmackDown was here and there. I was glad to see Cesaro back. And they're finally actually taking Ricochet off of main event and putting him, on SmackDown, which is really good. So I thought this week in wrestling, at least for WWE standpoint, was really good. I wish you would have got into AEW a little bit, but we'll save that for another time.
Time wise, because I had a topic for AEW this week with them being Dynamite being the most compliment sandwich show ever. If you know what a compliment sandwich is from Family Guy. So top of the bun, nice little praise compliment. Meat of the bun, the shit. And then you followed up with another compliment. And to me, that was Dynamite. You opened the show great. The rest of it was trash. And then you ended it on a good main event. So
yes,
we'll have to have you back on to deep dive into AEW at some other point in time. So thanks for joining us again. Real quick, where can everybody find you at and look you up on social media?
So you guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all under the same name, the Call Up Podcast. And like I said, you can catch me every single Monday doing the Monday Night Raw watch along. We start off at 7:30 and we go all the way to 11.
You watch Raw every week, so there you go.
Yeah, hop on in. If you're by your computer, I'll shoot you the link. You can come in. I normally like shoot a link to different people, whoever wants to jump on and give an opinion really quick, and then hop off. Or if they just want to completely just stay in the chat and not be on camera, they can do that too. We try to make it very family friendly.
You'll just be in the chat throwing stuff out there all night long. So, thanks for coming on. We'll definitely get you on again so we can get into AEW. I know you were at GCW. They made some news this week too. Wanted to get your thoughts on, but all's good. We'll follow back up and have you back on again at a later date and time.
All right.
Thanks, Kenny.
All right.
Thank you guys. Take care.
All right. So again, shout out to Kenny from the Call Up Podcast. Thanks for coming on. Follow him along on socials. Watch his stuff. He got good stuff going on with what he does. So AEW compliment sandwich Dynamite. Let's get into it a little bit here. Opening of the show was good. End of the show was good. The middle of the show was terrible. Thoughts?
I agree. And I watched everything this week.
I didn't watch Rampage yet, but Dynamite. Yeah.
To me, Rampage was a better show.
Rampage was a better show this week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to watch that today because out of the stuff that I watched Raw, I watched SmackDown, I watched Dynamite. Dynamite for me was the better show so far, so I'll check Rampage out today.
Donald?
Yes, Rampage was a way better show. Dynamite, it is what it is. I mean, I was just there basically to watch the Punk and MJF.
Yeah, 40 minutes between them two. I was shocked that they were giving them that much time.
Very much.
About 15 minutes in, I looked at Punk and I go, I don't know if he's going to be able to finish. Like, he looked blown up and gassed to the max. I love the nods to old school pro wrestling during that match, right? And the callback, Steven, to Punk's history in ROH. We saw there was somebody tweeted it out, and I forgot to save it, but they tweeted it out, the side-by-side view of MJF using the choke out with the tape on Punk. Punk did the same thing in Ring of Honor, right? And the referee found it the same way. He tucked it under his arm the same way, walked around the ring the same way. Like, it was a complete callback to Punk doing it. So I thought that was great. The false finish swerve there with the rematch, with the restart. They had that, and Rampage last night had a DQ finish, and people were like, "Oh my God, it's a restart! Oh my God, it's a DQ finish!" It's like, but AEW has had one DQ finish in 3 years, so it's not being done every single week, and it was set up with a story that followed afterwards with an explanation. So when you do it that way and you don't roll it out there every week, it's not going to mean less when it's done. It's going to mean more because it adds to the story that you're telling. Thoughts on that aspect? Jay, I know I'm going to kick it to you first because you're probably in disagreement here.
What about them using the DQ?
So using for MJF using the swerve finish with the restart, and then on Rampage we saw the DQ, the pipe,
yeah,
and people on the timeline were upset because it's like, oh, another DQ, or another.
You're not gonna see me upset.
Okay, so you liked what they did.
I don't mind it. Yeah,
okay.
It's a part of wrestling now. Don't be high where you're like, oh, we don't do this, because eventually you're going to do this, and eventually you're going to be on long enough to where it's going to become more repetitive. So stop holding true to we don't do DQ finishes when you're only 2 years in, 3 years in. Trust me, more coming.
Well, does the fact that we are almost 3 years in, and this was the first DQ finish AEW's done, did that help? Did it make it more? I don't even know what the right words are. I guess more palpable, so to speak, from a viewing aspect, from a viewer, because it's not something that's done ever. As Jericho said, it's the first ever DQ finish on Rampage. Taz was like, I think it's the first ever DQ finish in AEW.
It's rough for me because during the CM Punk match, you had JR finished. You had JR explaining multiple times why certain things are not a DQ. The ref just wants it to go on. They were in the stands for 5 minutes.
That was terrible. That was terrible. You can't. I've never seen
your horse high. Don't be high on that horse when you clearly screwing the rules.
And no joke, probably this week on JR's podcast, he'll shit on them for that because he's good. Whenever he doesn't like the refs not doing something, looking weak, he'll talk about that on his show.
I've never seen a ref follow wrestler up into the crowd to get them to come back into the ring, instead of standing in the ring and counting. And then I've never seen a ref give a 5 count to a guy standing on the wrist of another wrestler on a table on the outside of the ring to break the hold, essentially, to get him back in the ring.
I yelled at my TV whenever Wardlow came out, and they were just standing. All of them were just kind of on the outside of the ring, and I was like, "So the ref's just not going to count to 10 on this one, at all, right?"
Of course not. Huh?
Yeah,
it's ref discretion.
Explain why biting's not a DQ.
The Wardlow thing, as it happened, I was like, why, like you, I'm like, why are we not counting this? Like, we're just having a face off. Like, the replay showed him slipping the diamond ring to MJF. I was like, oh, okay, makes total sense now. Like, and that's a little thing that they cleaned up by showing you the replay where you didn't see it as it was going on, which was, you know, a good thing there production wise. I'll bring up something else that was completely bad production wise that I saw last night on Rampage.
I'm okay with the DQs because I don't think that creatively you should box yourself in. It's like AEW doesn't do a lot of DQs. They don't do a lot of the time limit draws. You know, it's just something else that, you know, when you're trying to figure out the match, like how to finish it, if you don't want that ending, it's just something else to do. You know, like if you want to continue on. I don't
care about the DQs because WWE conditioned us to DQ so much. Like Jason said, hey, it's just part of the program now.
When AEW finishes every match with a roll up, then we're gonna have a discussion.
That most devastating move.
Hey, we're on that pace for a minute. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, so that, I mean, again, Dynamite capped off beginning to end was strong. The rest of it was terrible. I hated the Brandy Rhodes segment, and the only reason why I say I hated the Brandy Rhodes segment is because of them doing that segment in Chicago. I think if it's not done in Chicago, it may have had a chance to be better, but doing it in Chicago, you had Lambert, who's supposed to be the biggest heel in your company, from a mic standpoint, that gets heat everywhere he goes. You had the fans cheering for him and getting a shut the fuck up chant for Brandy, which TBS, that's 3 weeks in a row since they started on TBS. There's been a fuck chant live on air. They can't be happy with that.
Hey, apparently they're not on any time delay yet, so TBS might.
Hey, that's what happened when you're the secondary show from there. Secondary network.
To me, that segment should not have been done in Chicago. That should have been done somewhere else. I don't know if you get that. I don't know if it would have worked anywhere you did it, but for me, doing it there, it definitely was not going to work there.
I'm so over Dan Lambert.
Thank you. Somebody else said it.
This is not, you know, oh, he's a heel, I hate him. No, I'm over him. He needs to go. He's not adding anything to the product. Like,
as soon as he came on, I turned it off because I shut him out completely. Yeah. Like anything he says or do, I'm done with it.
Yeah. I don't think he's adding anything to Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky.
No, they were better by themselves.
Yeah,
and it's a shame because he did really good work in Impact, and his run in Impact was way better.
I got tired of him in Impact too, but I think that's why I'm kind of not into him here because I knew I was going to get tired of him real quick.
So we're gonna get Paige Van Zandt and Brandy Rhodes. That's where we're going. That's what
looks like it. I mean, I'm glad they're gonna use Paige finally, but it's not the match I would have picked. But
and where's Cody in all this? If somebody said the things Lambert's saying to my wife, I'm like you're not going to get multiple weeks to do it. I'm coming out and punching you in the face. You're letting her, you know, talk about her suck hole and everything else for weeks, and you haven't done shit. Like, what are we waiting for?
Back there in Gorilla, just like
he's recovering from the ladder match still.
We brought up the production. The production of the Wardlow showing it on the replay, which was good because it cleared up the odd face off. Like, why are we doing this? No count out, whatever. Which was good. The production standpoint that I'm gonna bring up that was really bad last night on Rampage. Statlander is back doing an interview with Shivani. Layla Hirsch hits her with a chair. I'm all fine. You know, Statlander drops to the ground, but the way they shot it, they show Layla Hirsch handing her the chair and Statlander holding it in place for the running knee shot. Like, all you got to do is raise the camera up a couple inches. That's all you got to do. Just your lens up, just a tad bit, right? You know, I said, hey, pictures, neck up, because waist down, yeah, no, we got neck up. Just like she's just holding it like this, like it's like, come on, you're killing yourself with that. Like, why? Like, you gotta. Those are the little things that, from time to time, and it's more evident on you know, Dynamite and AEW in general, but you got to clean that stuff up. So, all right, anything else from Dynamite or Rampage this week?
I went in with no expectations, and I really liked Lethal and Starks, especially that finish.
Starks is tremendous.
The finish was great.
That finish, the Rochambeau out of the lethal injection was tremendous. I haven't seen that counter before, so I popped for that whenever he did that at the end. Yeah. I thought Hobbs was good. Didn't interfere too much, but was, you know, did what he was supposed to do on the outside from that standpoint. But yeah, other than that, I'm a huge Ricky Starks fan. I've been championing him since he got signed with AEW. I loved him in the NWA, and neck injury. But, you know, besides that, which curtailed his run, I think we're going to see his rise start to happen sooner rather than later.
I hope so.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I wanted to watch it last night, just didn't get the chance, and why I'll watch it today, is for the last few weeks I haven't watched Rampage because it was like 8-man tag, trios match. Like, there was like no singles. It's just like, okay, like I don't need these matches. Like, none of them interest me. So it's like, it's nice that we had 2 title matches last night, and all 4 were singles matches on the card.
Yep. So yeah, Rampage. I think Rampage out of the shows this week, Rampage for me was number 1 if I'm ranking the shows.
I like Cole's call out too.
I enjoy 2.0. You watched?
Do you mean NXT 2.0 or do you mean 2.0 on AEW?
NXT.
No, okay. No, I didn't.
And but like you said, that might have been another, not a full compliment sandwich. They threw a compliment slice of cheese in the middle too.
Yeah.
I'll watch Stand and Deliver, but I'm pretty much done with NXT watching that.
I wasn't sold on those Creed boys, the Creed brothers, but you put them in Dynamite. That Walter versus Imperium, or Imperium versus Creed.
That was a very good match.
Very good. And then they ended with the tag match with Ciampa versus Ciampa and Breaker versus Legado. That was another great match.
Yeah. So Ciampa's not getting the call up then?
I don't know. For right now, I would say he's a nice addition to this storyline that they're telling. It's kind of like, okay, I was the old vet. That, you know, you weren't going to take my spot. You're not ready. You did your thing. I respect you, so I'm going to help you out in this situation. Kind of as a teaching lesson to say, hey, you can't do it all by yourself, and move on afterwards. I think is what they'll do. I can see Ciampa getting a call up the night after WrestleMania.
I feel they have a nice place to build from right now.
I know he was on Main Event a couple weeks ago, but.
Yeah, I like the evolution in the Duke Hudson character. You know, going away from I just rely on Lady Luck. I'm a poker player. I like the transition that they're doing with him.
And I don't care what you feel about Chase, wrestler or gimmick. Man, he's spot on right now. Just with the gimmicks.
He's in a very good groove right now, and I will give him that. Like, he's very good, very good. Yeah, absolutely there. Some other quick hitters from the world of wrestling. Just run through this stuff real quick. New Japan, they announced that they're coming to Chicago in April for Windy City Riot. That's Saturday, April 16th. NWA announced they signed Matt Cardona versus Trevor Murdoch for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. That's February 12th, so next weekend.
Is that a pay-per-view or is that just for
That is
power taping?
It does not say.
Okay.
Does not say, but that was announced. Let's see here. What else did I have? GCW. They're going back to LA on February 25th. You get X-Pac and Joey Janela versus Cardona and Brian Myers. Dr. Wagner versus Homicide. Blake Christian versus Nick Wayne. Atticus versus Blackwood. I'm not familiar with either one of those two gentlemen. And then GCW announced that they are going to the UK. So they're taking their stuff across seas.
That'll be interesting to see what they do over there.
Yeah.
Do they stay more traditional or if they give their normal stuff?
There was something else I saw from GCW, and I can't find it right now. And I don't know if I bookmarked it right. Warrior Wrestling. They got a huge card coming up here on the 12th next weekend. They have Thunder Rosa versus Athena, formerly known as Ember Moon, in her first match back. So that'll be an absolute show stealer of a match. You have who else do you have on this card? This is a good card. You have Bandito versus Dante Martin. So you high flying fans out there, that's going to be insane. Warhorse versus Dalton Castle. That's your character versus character.
Warhorse.
Yeah. The Briscoes versus the Workhorsemen. Santana versus Speedball. Lindsay Dorado versus Sam Adonis. So Lindsay's back. The Acclaim versus Casey and Brian Cage. That'll be a good match. And you have Zayn versus Myron Reed versus Gringo Loca versus Christian Blake in a 4-way. That'll be a barn burner. That's like a X Division match there. So yeah, Warrior Wrestling 19. That'll be a huge card. And I can't find the other GCW news. I might have to look for that. So, anything else wrestling wise?
I talked briefly a little bit about the WWE conference call this past week. We've talked about this before, and I'll state it again. As much as we don't like WWE Network on Peacock, it is not going anywhere. They announced that out of the 50-some million subscribers for Peacock, WWE content gets about 3.5 million viewers, which compared to the WWE Network in the US is almost double what they were getting. Because WWE Network averaged about 1.5 million viewers and about 2 million for WrestleMania season. So, they said that the Royal Rumble was their most watched event on Peacock, beating WrestleMania from last year. So we'll see what WrestleMania this year does. But yeah, they say that the eyes on their product is more than it's ever been on Peacock. So they don't have problems with it.
No, Peacock just got to get better.
Yeah.
Get better on their end. Shit.
Yeah. All right. That's it for Bell to Bell this week. Let's crack open a beer.
Chug, 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 chug.
All right. This week's drink of the week, we asked you guys for comments, feedback, what you want to see, and got a lot of response. We got a good amount of responses for people that wanted to see us do some cider reviews here on the show for the drink of the week segment. So this week we have Knockin. Noggin. It is a baked apple pie cider with baked apple pie flavor.
I didn't realize this was a cider. I judged it already because of the can. I was just like, this is some bullshit.
It is 8.5% alcohol.
Wow.
Chris, is your glass empty?
That thing is clear.
Yeah, damn.
So this is a very, very strong cider, probably the strongest cider I've ever had. It says it's baked apple pie is a seasonal hit full of sweet cinnamon sugar notes that can be served warm or chilled. Now, I think all of us had this chilled, right? I think we all put it in the fridge. I'm going to want to find this again. and go back and drink it warm.
Mhm.
Because I think you'll get different flavors based on which way you prefer to drink it.
When you say warm, do you just mean room temp, or do you actually mean like to serve it warm, like a hot
serve it
apple
warm.
cider? Okay.
Yeah, like a hot apple cider.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Smell the apples
yeah.
for sure.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't
I'm gonna
crazy
give
about
this a
this.
number scale. Goddamn.
Man, I wasn't expecting this.
Yo, we gotta buy this by the case.
Ooh.
Whatever I
See,
opened up the
Whoever
can,
recommended
it smelled it.
ciders.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
This is something that my wife is a huge cider drinker, loves ciders, right? This is something that I want her to try because this is absolutely this might be the best cider I've ever had.
Yeah.
Other than apple cider.
Oh yeah. That's it. After the podcast's over with, we're finding this again. I'm picking you all up and we're going.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Is anybody else getting the baked taste?
I don't know if I'm necessarily getting a baked taste.
Oh, yeah.
Or is it
Baked
is
taste.
Is it the popcorn I'm eating?
I'm not getting a baked taste. I'm getting a good ass taste.
Whoa, that's a completely
Yeah,
different
sorry
show.
about that.
Completely different show. Not gonna judge. You know, I mean, yeah.
Very
completely
good.
What do you do on your personal time,
A
dog?
very good cider taste.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. I've never seen this before. And I don't know if they have anything else. You know, this Knockin' Noggin. Does it say where they're from? They're from PA. Pulaski, PA. Oh, that's where it's packaged at. Yeah, this is tremendous. If you guys see this out and about, even guys, I know you're not cider drinkers, right? We're men, we don't drink cider. This one you absolutely need to pick up. I will back this 1,000%.
And it's gluten free. Or whatever gluten
There you
is.
go. We're thinking we got everybody covered here. Men, women, you know, keto diet, whatever. Like we got it all covered right here in this can. This deliciousness. Of a
I don't
can.
know. This is there's a little too much sugar in here for the keto diet, I think.
With one cheat day.
At 8.5%, you can use the cheat day.
I'm going 4.75.
I'm right with you, Steve. This is 4.75 for sure.
I said I'd give it a number grade, so I'm gonna just stick where y'all at because 4.75.
It's a good cider. It's so smooth.
Yes, it is.
I love the cinnamon taste and the smoothness. I don't know if that's the vanilla that makes it so smooth in there, but I really like that. I'll go 4.5. Be different.
You had to be that guy.
Yeah.
Knock it down a peg.
Absolutely tremendous.
And I think the only reason why I'm doing that, I wish it had a little more carbonation. That's my only knock on it.
I definitely want to drink it warm. You know, as a warm apple cider.
Yeah, that would be good.
To get the difference, but like on a cold, snowy day like we've had recently, this is definitely a go-to after shovel snow beer that you know.
That 8.5, yeah.
And 8.5.
I do a 4-pack of these to drink that in the day.
Yeah, this is 8.5. Yeah.
Is this our highest rated beer or drink consistency wise?
No,
whole hog.
it's close. Yeah.
I mean, as a whole,
whole
not
hog.
like who had the most, but me, I'm always at the bottom of everything. So
No, whole hog. This and whole hog, I think, have been the highest rated that we've done from all four of us together. So that just goes to show you because we put whole hog up on another tier.
Yeah.
That's on the pedestal.
Right. This I think this goes up there with it for sure.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Maybe the blueberry maple pancake one that we did from Saranac. That was the other one that was really highly rated by the four of us.
I don't know. I think we each need to get a 4-pack of this, drink that 4-pack, and then get on for an after dark and just see what happens.
I'm a light drinker, so I wouldn't make it.
All right, so yeah, if you see this out and about, pick this up for sure. You will not be disappointed. Men, women, it doesn't matter. This is.
I was about to say boys and girls. No, don't do that.
Yeah, no, this is it right here.
Men,
Don't get us
women,
canceled, Jay.
Diabetes, everything, whatever you got. Hey, this is all good. Hey.
Listen, if I'm gonna get the sugar after drinking this, I'll gladly take getting the sugar. As you know, they like to call it. All right. So with that being said, I am gonna change up the toast this week because I saw this and I was like, oh, okay, we're getting ready to come up on St. Patrick's Day here shortly, in about another month or so. But I did see this.
2 weeks of the same thing wasn't good enough for you, huh?
Nope, I got to switch it up a little bit. So this is a traditional Irish toast that I saw. Here's to cheating, stealing, fighting, and drinking.
Eddie?
If you cheat, may you cheat death. If you steal, may you steal a woman's heart. If you fight, may you fight for a brother. And if you drink, may you drink with me. So with that being said, raise your bottles, everything else. Cheers, salute.
Cheers.
Go pick this up immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, my taste buds are just they're just tingling with delicious.
Dancing.
Amazing. Dancing. So this week in
hitting everybody already.
This week in sports, we got the official retirement of Tom Brady. Adam Schefter and Jeff Darlington ruined it for Brady. It didn't get to announce it the way that he wanted to, but he is officially called it a career after 22 years. All the stats, all the championships, everything, the GOAT. Here's something for you guys. Brady has a losing record against only 2 NFL franchises. He's 4-5 against the Saints, and he's 1-2 against the Seahawks. Every other team in the league, he is 500 or better. That is ridiculousness.
Mm-hmm. Domination.
His record against the AFC East, where he spent most of his career.
Don't even mention that.
The Bills, he's 33-3. The Jets, he's 30-7, and the Dolphins, he's 24-12.
Dolphins got his number.
Mm-hmm.
The Dolphins have beaten Brady the most times out of any team in the league. That's unbelievable. I hate Brady because he caused so much heartache and pain as a Steelers fan for 20 years. Probably took away a couple championships, or at least a chance to play for championships.
At least 2 times.
Seeing him in Tampa Bay these last 2 years, I've grown to appreciate Brady for the greatness that he had, and enjoy his final run. But yeah, we can save this topic for another day in sports.
We don't need to. Drew Bledsoe.
You're drunk off of that cider already. Already. So yeah, I just thought that was something interesting to bring up. The Winter Olympics got underway. Opening ceremonies were last night. There was some stuff on Thursday night. Given space and everything else. They started some events early. I watched curling last night and snowboarding and something else. The Jamaican bobsled team is back in the Olympics. First time in 24 years. They're represented in Beijing. All those Cool Runnings fans, if you were a kid growing up, if you saw the movie, yes, the Jamaican bobsled team is a real thing. And it did qualify for the Olympics this year. What's your favorite Winter Olympic event?
I like the downhill skiing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jay?
I have to say figure skating.
Men or women's?
I didn't peg you as a figure skating guy. Couples.
I go women's then couples.
Okay. Chris?
I'd probably go curling. I mean, I'm there for hockey most of the time, but yeah, I'll take hockey out then. I'll say curling.
I'm a bobsled and a luge guy. Those are my favorite events. I would never do the bobsled or the luge. Those people that do the luge are off their rocker. Okay,
And even the ones that do the skeleton, the head
Mhm.
first.
that's even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no. But yeah, so the Winter Olympics are on. There were some boycotts. There's a whole bunch of other stuff going on with it. But if you're a fan of the Winter Olympics, you can watch them, pretty much anywhere on USA, NBC, Peacock. It just
Channel.
sucks because of the time difference. If you want to watch it live, you got to watch it starting at like 11 p.m. going through 3 a.m., 4 a.m. So,
You guys excited about it or not?
no, the Olympics for me are complete trash. They've grown less relevant in my lifetime.
Yes.
Like I was super excited for the Olympics as a kid growing up. I went to the Olympics in '96 in Atlanta. I went and saw the Dream Team play. I went and saw all around men's gymnastics. Like, loved the Olympics growing up. Was sit down and watch it whenever it was on, whether it was winter or summer. But as the years have gone on and as I've gotten older, they just become less and less relevant as time's gone on to me.
You don't know anybody.
You don't know
It's
anybody.
not even that. It's just
too much corporate greed is in it. Politics has made its way into it.
and then, I get them trying new things and trying to expand to bring in viewers, but like I'm a traditionalist when it comes to the Olympics. So like me seeing snowboarding or 3-on-3 basketball or some of these other events that they
Football in 2028.
they're literally trying to get flag football in the Olympics. Like to me that's not the Olympics. Like
they were trying to get ballroom dancing in the Australia Olympics in 2000. Ballroom dancing,
Summer or winter.
Summer.
You can do it whenever.
I mean, it's basically figure skating without the skates, right?
Yep.
I enjoy the Summer Olympics more than I enjoy the Winter Olympics, so I get more excited for that than these ones. But I'll watch some stuff. Like, I don't really care to watch the whole thing, like, multiple hours. I'd rather just, like, I think, like, the Olympic Channel, like, they'll do, like, the highlights for the day and stuff, and I'd rather watch that than watch, like, the whole event or something.
Yeah, I typically don't sit through an entire showcase how they they go from one event to the other. Like I'm not watching it straight through. If it's something that I like and that I'm interested in, I will tune in whenever it's on. Like I said, I'm gonna watch bobsledding whenever it's on. Like I don't care what country it is that's getting ready to go down the tube. Like I'm gonna watch bobsledding, period, just because I think it's fascinating that you want to propel yourself down an ice tunnel at 100 miles an hour in a metal tube. But yeah, like those things. I think the figure skating has wore off because I guess I don't know as many people. Like I could name figure skaters from back in the day off the top of my head now, and it's like those were prominent individuals and people. You don't really see that nowadays.
I mean, back in the 90s, I mean, you had the drama of the whole Nancy Kerrigan situation, so that's what made you want to tune in.
And then you had a dominant, like you had, Christy Yamaguchi, like whether or not she was going to end up winning gold, like she always got there and then fell short at a time, So yeah, I just think you had bigger names that were more known and promoted more. But the only commercials I saw for Olympians this year had Shaun White in it.
Yeah,
I didn't see any other Olympic commercials that had any other Olympic athlete.
I forgot all about that man until they interviewed him yesterday. I was like, damn.
I thought it was a Jurassic Park commercial.
I was like, I forgot all about you.
So yeah, I think that that's a problem as well.
Why is water sliding not an Olympic sport?
You mean like the high dive belly flop competition that you see guys do all the time?
No, it's still not a water slide.
That could be
it's
the summer version.
It's the same as luge.
Yeah, the summer version of the luge. Yeah,
you could do it in the wintertime. It would just be the polar bear event.
It could be the summer. The bigger guy always wins.
The other
I have a chance.
Cannonball competition. I may get up on a medal stand there. Might get up on a medal stand. NFL wise, we'll touch on the Super Bowl next weekend. We're not going to break that down this weekend since the game, is obviously next Sunday. But the big NFL news this week: Brian Flores suing the NFL, class action lawsuit. A lot of stuff named in that lawsuit. It's 58 pages long. It's out there. If you want to read it, go look it up. But basically, saying race discrimination, sham interviews, being offered $100,000 to tank games, which affects the competitive balance. Hugh Jackson came out and said, "Hey, they offered me bonuses in Cleveland. I can back this up with proof." So I think he's going to join in with a class action lawsuit. You can get people to join in at any time, right? So, yeah, it's
What the hell would you say?
It's going to be
Anybody really surprised on that? Is anybody really surprised on this?
So to
No.
me, the
No.
Rooney
No.
are black head coach candidates getting the same opportunities to interview during the process? No, I don't think anybody would agree that that's happening, right? They've manipulated the Rooney Rule to a point where they just do it to check off the box. And they know it's a problem because they even added stuff on to the Rooney Rule, the original Rooney Rule, in order to make sure that the opportunity is the same, and they've been able to circumvent that over the last couple of years. So this is a problem. You can look at statistics and numbers and everything else and all that. And it's not just head coaches and general manager positions and people in front offices of color and minorities. That's a problem. You even see it with position wise. Like Ryan Clark was on 93.7 The Fan this week talking, and he's like, "Where's our Colt McCoy? Where's our Chase Daniel? Where's our Josh McCown? Tell me the black backup quarterback that's been in the league for 12, 14 years." That's just been around because he's just okay. If you're a black quarterback in the NFL, you have to be Mike Vick. You got to be Lamar Jackson. You got to be Cam Newton.
The last one was maybe Batcher Leftwich.
And who did both of those players play for as backups? Yeah. The Steelers. Yeah. Who came up with the Rooney Rule? The Steelers. Who has the only black head coach in the entire NFL? The Steelers. So like when you look at it across the board, like there's no reason that this Kevin O'Connell that got hired by the Vikings that came out of nowhere as the Rams offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me just because you were with Sean McVay and you were an OC for 1 year, you're more qualified as a candidate to be a head coach than Eric Bieniemy, who's been the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs for what, 5 years now, and has gone to 4 straight AFC championship games? Or you're more qualified than Byron Leftwich, who's won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady, and I think the Bucs do have a really good offense, but just because you're a McVay descendant, you're automatically going to get that gig when nobody even knew who Kevin O'Connell was until he got hired as the Vikings head coach.
Yeah, they said anybody off of LaFleur's branch, Kyle Shanahan's branch, and McVay's branch. Those are all the people getting the head coaching jobs now from those 3 head coaches.
And besides Tomlin, the only other head coach in the NFL that's a minority is Robert Saleh.
And Rivera from Washington.
Rivera,
Yes,
I forgot about him. So that's 3 out of 32. Yeah, it's a problem, especially when 70% of your league is African Americans, and you mean to tell me that none of those ex-players that go into coaching are qualified to lead an organization? Like
position coaches. It's about all it is amount to a position.
And you heard D'Amico Ryan's name come out as a hot name for coaching candidates, but he didn't get any offers as a D coordinator. Gerard Mayo up in New England was getting a look and a sniff, but again, I think that was more of just, hey, we're going to use him as our Rooney Rule.
Check the box.
Check the box.
Yep.
I mean, it's I don't know. It's a stain. Basically, it's just the NFL is hyping up slogans, but there's no action behind anything that they've done to progress, and that's a bad look right now. And then on top of the lawsuit and everything else, and the competitive balance of being paid to tank games and everything else, the Washington Commanders, which you can say what you want about the new name. I prefer Washington football team over Commanders. I thought Commanders was one of the weakest names on the list that they had available to them. But then you have more allegations coming out against Daniel Snyder with sexual harassment in the workplace, being testified in front of Congress this week. And it's like, okay, so why is this guy still an owner of a team?
Look over here. Here's a name change. Let's distract you.
Oh, he's not running it. His wife's running it.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, really?
And did you hear about the report that Congress wants to report, but the NFL can't release it until they get Dan Snyder's permission? So the guy you investigated, you need his permission to release the report to Congress.
And then to circle back on that, Donald, the NFL. How do you have this class action lawsuit announced by Brian Flores, and two hours later, literally 2 hours later, as a league, you send out a memo and say that these allegations are without merit? So you mean to tell me you've already done an investigation?
Yeah, maybe a 2-hour investigation.
Okay,
you've already done it. Like it's such like.
Leave it to old man texting to blow the cover off everything.
Super Bowl week next week and Super Bowl row and everything else. Like, you want to talk about stuff that's not game related being discussed? Like, how much of this is going to take up the airways next week?
Yeah, I know.
They'll shoot that down. Don't worry.
Because this whole week you didn't hear anything about the two teams at all.
You didn't hear about the Pro Bowl.
I forgot the Pro Bowl was even played.
Mm-hmm.
I saw highlights of the skills competition yesterday morning, and I'm like, wait, they had the skills competition last night? And meanwhile, you need to move the Pro Bowl back to Hawaii. Okay, there's no reason why you should have them out there in cold weather gear, doing stuff for the Pro Bowl. You need to move that back to Hawaii.
I was wondering why everybody's in hoodies.
They're in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
Cold weather gear, or Vegas, wherever they were at this year for it. I think it was Vegas. Out there in hoodies doing I like the skills competition stuff that they did this year. The fastest NFL player of the race. I like the catch competition, kind of like the crazy catch, kind of like their version of the slam dunk contest. Like, I like that. I thought that was cool. The quarterbacks with the precision passing and everything else. And then the Pro Bowl dodgeball, like, that needs to be the Pro Bowl game itself, because that was way more entertaining than any Pro Bowl I've watched for the last 10 years.
They used to do flag, didn't they?
They did until one guy for the Patriots got hurt on the bench.
Hurt.
Yeah, he blew his knee out, and they canceled that immediately.
Yeah, like, I remember back in the day, the skills competition, they used to have the strongest arm for quarterbacks, where they would see, who could throw the farthest, like that. Like, all that stuff is great. Like, make that. Don't do a Pro Bowl game. You can name your Pro Bowlers and you can give them money for the Pro Bowl and everything else, but like, people will go into a stadium to watch them do different skills competition. The NHL skill competition last night might have had the greatest thing I've ever seen in sports. Did you guys see the highlight of the shootout goal?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the shootout goal. Yes.
Who was it? George. I'm gonna butcher his name. Tavares.
The one where he was blindfolded?
Yeah, he did the dodgeball.
Mm-hmm.
He did the dodgeball bit. Vince Vaughn. He put the blindfold on, skated in, spun around blindfolded, had dodgeballs being thrown at him, picked the puck up on his stick blindfolded, and scored. It was the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever seen in sports.
The puck being on the stick was amazing.
Oh, I've watched that clip. I can't even tell you how many times. It was unbelievable. But that stuff is exciting. Like, I'd rather watch that stuff than.
Did he see through it?
What's that?
Did he hit you with the pot? Could he see through the blindfold?
Of course he could. Of course.
Hey, I don't listen. His blindfold was a lot bigger than Pac's was on Wednesday night. So
Speaking
Yeah,
of the
like,
speaking of the All-Star games, do you think all All-Star games are a thing of the past?
yeah, there's no competitive All-Star game out there at all.
It's just like the Olympics. It's not exciting at all.
No, they showed the clip of Sean Taylor blowing up the punter on the fake punt from the Pro Bowl,
Yeah.
and it was like, oh yeah, this is what it used to be like. Like, you see, baseball back in the day, the All-Star games, Pete Rose running in and trucking over a catcher to score in the All-Star game.
Broke his clavicle, his shoulder, and all that
I think
stuff.
basketball is still entertaining.
Basketball is entertaining in the last the fourth quarter where they do the point system, and then the winning charity gets whatever the money is. Like that's kind of where that's at. But give me the skills competitions to replace the games, because people are still going to show up and watch them.
Yeah.
So name your all-stars, give them the check for being all-stars, Pro Bowlers, whatever you call them in your league, and make the skills competition the actual event and not the game itself. And I think you would get more of the top players to go.
Yes.
Or like Donald brought up, where's Rockin' Jock? They're one of those type games.
Rockin' Jock was so great.
Had a 21 points in the hoop.
The armchair quarterback when they was going back and forth on the couch.
No, but yeah, make the skills competitions the actual game. Replace the game with the skills competitions. You still get your weekend off. You still have excitement. I mean, I tune in more for the home. I can't tell you the last time I watched the baseball All-Star game. I've watched the home run derby every year.
It's been a long time for baseball.
Yeah,
I think ever since they went to interleague play, because it used to be great whenever the one league never played the other league. So you got to see the game between the two leagues. It was like, oh, wow, this guy's going up against this pitcher going up against this guy. Now it's just like, It was like I just saw them play like last week against each other.
Right.
So.
All right. Any other things in sports?
Yeah, I got a question. What does this do for Hugh Jackson going forward?
Nothing other than the fact that.
Do you think players trust him?
Yeah, absolutely. If it's true.
I mean, he's in Grambling now, so you can't really.
If what he's saying is true, yes. The benefit for Hugh Jackson that I see is that obviously his record is 3-35 or something like that as a Browns head coach, right?
Yeah.
He went over like.
I think they said 11-45, something like that.
If it's shown that the organization purposely had him tank and didn't give him a competitive team in order to get the number one pick, which they eventually got and then fired, then from a namesake standpoint, it's going to be him. Oh, you see, the record is not who I am as a coach. Mm-hmm. This is why my record is the way that it was. That to me is what he gets out of this.
But as a player,
as long as what he's saying is true, I think if he was a coach of mine, I would still want to play for him. Mm-hmm. I don't see it being a money grab at all for him or something. You know what I mean? Because if it's not true and you come out with all this and you're doing the interviews and everything else, the egg on your face, you never recover from that. So to me, there has to be some validity in what he's saying. Now, whether or not it can be proven is another thing. Just that's the thing with Flores.
What I'm saying is, as a person who tanked, would you, as a player, want to play for that coach?
I don't think he was trying to tank.
You just think he wasn't given the opportunity to.
He wasn't given any opportunity
to win
from organization down to win. I don't think it was him taking money for tanking and not coaching and not developing players. I don't think that's the case. I think it was literally the real life version of the movie Major League, where we're giving you nobody from nobody. But you have to go out there and win games on Sunday. And when you don't win, we're going to fire you because you didn't win games.
Mm-hmm. That's the excuse.
So, I mean, now if it comes out to where they prove that, hey, he did tank and he took the money and was okay with it and everything else, then that's a different situation. Where as a player, I'm like, yeah, no, I can't ride with you. I can't believe anything you tell me because your credibility is gone. You tanked for money. The flip side of that coin is if it's true and what they're both alleging we know to be true, it's just whether or not they can prove it in court. Then okay, yeah, I'm gonna ride with you because you didn't get the fair shake that everybody else has gotten as far as being able to get a team built up and everything else. All right, we'll cap sports off right there, and let's jump into the world-renowned, world-famous One Gotta Go.
Clue.
Last week's poll results. What do we got?
Last week's poll results, Scrabble gotta go.
Oh.
A lot of people hate the word games.
Oh.
Because we can't spell. Sorry.
Yeah, you know what that is? That's a generation brought up on spell check.
We can't spell.
Everybody pre-spell check loves Scrabble, but once
These
spell
words
check-
with friends still thing, add me. I want to play all y'all.
Now it's Wordle. That's the game now.
All right, so Scrabble got to go. Thanks for everybody that played along. And this week, I think this week's One Gotta Go is going to generate some buzz. So we got Girl Scout cookies, okay, this week. The reason why I chose this topic is because I just bought about 8 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. And I got to thinking that this would be a good One Gotta Go. So these are traditional Girl Scout cookies. I'm not adding in the new s'mores and the new lemon zings, whatever they're called. No, we're going old school traditional Girl Scout cookies here. We got Thin Mints, Tagalongs, Samoas, and Do-si-dos. Donald, for you, which one of these got to go?
My favorite Girl Scout cookie is not even on here, and I never even had any of these other 4 because I just got one kind all the time.
What did you get? The plain
the shortbread.
Shortbread with the little Girl Scout logo on it.
That's it.
Is that Sunny something?
That's it. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah,
the
thanks for
Samoas
playing. Just shut his mic off. Chris, what do you got?
Samoa's the one that got the
coconut.
Coconut on there, and I hate coconut, so there you go. Samoa's got to go.
Chris?
Funny enough, I hate coconut too, but I do like Samoas. Like out of the 4 of these, I buy the Samoas and the Do-si-dos the most. Every now and then I'll buy some Thin Mints, but I never buy the Tagalongs, so Tagalongs can go.
Jay?
I had to look up Do-si-dos just to see what they were real quick. I hate coconut too myself, but the what is it? The Tagalongs?
Samoas have the coconut.
Samoas? Those aren't going anywhere. Those might be one of my favorites. Do-si-dos got to go.
What? The
Is it peanut butter?
Yeah. The peanut butter cookies.
They got to go.
Oh,
Mr. Reese?
I was about to say the same thing. Mr. Reese don't like the peanut butter.
What the Tagalongs got peanut butter in them?
Yeah, but the
peanut butter,
Tagalongs
caramel,
have-
and chocolate. Yeah.
Yeah,
with the
chocolate.
chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything else got chocolate in it. Sorry, the basic ass Do-si-do got to go.
You're
Plain
crazy.
ass.
There's nothing better than a glass of milk and a sleeve of Do-si-dos. Okay.
A glass of milk and
ride on,
leave a
I'll ride
Samoas.
on that hill. No, Samoas are trash. Samoa's got to go on this list.
Those are the
Coconut's
best ones.
trash. The cookie itself is trash.
You're a coconut hater too, right?
The coconut is disgusting.
It's
I
terrible.
agree.
Ugh.
You know, I'm not a fan of those. So yeah, Samoa's got to go off the list. So if you're playing along this week, hit us up. Let us know what your favorite Girl Scout cookie is. And keep it to the traditionals listed. I didn't realize Donna was the Sarah Plain.
You said what's the favorite? That's not the game.
Shortbread's
What's
my
your
favorite too.
The one got to go. My favorite
I'm
ain't
sorry.
on
Which one got to go? Donald got me all thrown off there with bringing up the freaking plain shortbreads.
Sarah Plain, it's all.
Yeah, you're Sarah Plain at all.
there. Those are the best ones.
They are. They're the best ones.
You guys are basic ass plain Janes.
And I threw off the basic cookie.
Terrible. All right, final thoughts. You guys Thanks, dude.
Kicks you off every time, man.
He said the Q one. That's where it cuts off.
Go ahead, man. Plug the show so we can hear final thoughts.
Thanks for tuning in to episode 72, guys. And special thanks to Kenny from DeCalla Podcast for joining us today for Bell to Bell.
Kenny,
Really
again.
appreciate that. Make sure you go over YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, subscribe to him and follow his stuff. But make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you get notifications when we go live each week. Like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at DumbMarksPod. And don't forget our audio-only edition of the show is available on demand on all your favorite podcast platforms. Support the show by telling a friend, and also go purchase some of our official merchandise at ProWrestlingTees.com/DumbMarksPod. Donald, I know you got a few things to cover before we wrap things up today.
Yeah, I just have one gaming topic. Early in the week, Sony bought Bungie for $3.6 billion. And to break down that $3.6 billion, 2.4 of it is for the company and the assets itself, and the other 1.2 billion is for retention of the staff. They really bought Bungie so they could help them maintain their live game services and all that stuff. So games like Avengers, stuff that's always live. Avengers. Bungie's really known for their they were the first original company to make the Halo trilogy, and they are known for their Destiny game IP now. So that's what it's for. And they also said Bungie will be multi-platform for all their games. So they're just not going to make it exclusive to Sony, to PlayStation. It's going to be for everybody.
Right now.
Look at that. Sounds like bread.
Yeah, but then also too, Sony has $10 billion left. I just heard this last night. They have $10 billion left for more acquisitions. They said they also have other companies they bought, but they didn't make them public yet. So they just have $10 billion left to do something.
Oh my!
And there's yeah, only 10 billion.
Yeah.
And there's little rumors and all that stuff of like which companies it is and all that. But I don't speculate on rumors until I actually see the stuff, so we don't get in trouble.
Yeah.
Dumb Marks Inc. might be for sale if they're interested.
Yeah.
I'm a good gamer, so hey, you can throw some money this way.
To add on the gaming, this might not be as big as deal as like the Madden cover, but Shohei made the cover of the show 2K22.
That's a big deal. Yeah. Very big deal.
I saw this list. I forgot to bring it up in Drink of the Week. The 20 most popular beers in America.
But
What?
Bud Light 1,
Miller.
Coors Light 2, Budweiser 3, Miller Light 4, Corona 5. Natty Light 6, Busch Light 7, Michelob Ultra 8, Busch 9, Heineken 10, Modelo Especial 11, Keystone Light 12, Miller High Life 13, Natty Ice 14, Bud Light Platinum 15, Pabst Blue Ribbon 16, Bud Light Lime 17, Bud Ice 18, Yingling 19, Bud Light Lime Strawberry Rita 20. So shout out to all the colleges across America. Bud Light, Natty Ice, Keystone,
Haps.
Pabst.
I heard the champagne of beers in there, so I'm good.
Yeah,
Really?
I'll give you up
Only
to
good-
the
the
first
only good
four.
beer on this-
Crap.
Yeah,
That's all I heard.
I mean, you had Corona, Yingling, and Miller Light. That's probably the
That's
three
about
that
it.
I'm drinking out of this list.
Yeah.
What was number one? Was it just was
Bud Light.
Just Bud Light.
Bud Light.
Oh, Bud Light. Is it, okay.
And this
Bud
is,
Light.
this is most popular beers. So
Is there a Bud? Is there a regular Bud?
Yeah, that was three.
Budweiser.
Budweiser was three.
There's
So yeah,
also,
Bud Light,
there's also a
Miller.
Miller Genuine Draft. There's just Coors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Bud Light.
Ooh, man, Bud. Oh God, no taste.
um
when you just want water, go drink water.
Beer pong beer.
shout out to Jennifer King. She became the first woman, an African American woman, to coach the position. I guess you would call it being a positions coach. She was running backs coach for the East West Shrine game. and she's coached in Washington and then now the Scramble. So shout out to her for getting that opportunity. We see women coaches. We saw, I forget the woman's name now, and this is really bad to me. Coaching the Super Bowl a couple years ago for the 49ers.
Oh yeah.
Damn it.
So
I know about your name too.
We're seeing more women be able to coach on a professional level.
Didn't the Pirates have somebody?
I'm not sure if they did or not. I didn't see any Pirates names about naming. Yeah, who?
Speaking of
What is
Major
that?
League,
Yeah, what is that team?
Yeah. The AEW partnered up with the American Heart Association as a partnership for fighting heart disease and that. So that's a good partnership there. They wore co-branded t-shirts on Friday at Rampage, and those are for sale on AEWshop.com. So you can go pick those up if you're looking to get behind the cause there. And let's see here. Steelers right now are at plus 6,000 to make next year's Super Bowl. That is the eighth worst odds per Caesars Sportsbook. So if you want to take a roll of the dice on the Steelers to make the Super Bowl, it's plus 6,000 right now. That's pretty good odds. And as far as the NFL continuing to have egg on their face, they denied Hamilton County's petition to broadcast the Super Bowl at Paul Brown Stadium for Bengals fans. So you know how when the Penguins are in the Stanley Cup, they have the watch along parties outside on the screens.
Mm-hmm.
The NFL said, no, you guys are not going to be allowed to do that, even though it was you never want to playoff. This is the first year you want a playoff game since text messages were invented, but you got to be in a bar or a house to watch Super Bowl. We're not going to let you have a watch party
because they want those ratings. They want them ratings.
Yeah. So there was that. And AEW for Black History Month, they're coming out with an album called Who We Are. It's a collaboration of 35 producers and artists, 15 different recording studios, and features 20 AEW stars. So if you see that out, want to pick that up, you're more than welcome.
Tony took a jump, boy. He took a jump.
That's all I had in final thoughts. Anybody got anything else?
just one quick thing for those of you that are Impact Wrestling fans and trying to look for their content. They signed a deal yesterday with YouTube TV. So the Fight Network's going to be going on, but it's going to be part of the sports package, and you got to pay $10 extra for that.
Of course.
I got that. So.
There you go, then.
Yeah, you ain't gonna watch.
Of course.
Everybody come over to your house to watch Impact.
You ain't watching.
That's all I got.
All right. Anybody got anything else here?
Sounds of Blackness, man. The soundtrack to. Never mind. Go ahead.
The soundtrack to what?
Final thoughts.
For that terrible way to end the show here. Oh wow! All right. So it is Black History Month. And
I'll choke on something.
I expected that from Donald more than I expected it from you.
No,
Donald's been trying to control himself for the past 3 minutes.
The quote of the week this week comes from Maya Angelou. It says, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." So let's do a little better with each other. Try to leave a lasting impression by doing something nice for somebody today. And overall, kindness will probably win the day out. So with that being said, I'm Mark, you're Mark, Jay's ridiculous. And until next time, y'all can catch us around the way.